facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Good, beautiful day, beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating, especially you. I'm so grateful you would join us today. We're going to have the Spitfire Latino boss, Mirna, coming as our guest today. You will not even begin to believe what she has overcome. And then, of course, that offers hope, right? So, but first, before I introduce her, we're going to do our little breathing exercise, our 22-second mini vacation. We're going to breathe in 7 seconds of calm, hold for 4 seconds, and breathe out gratitude. Breathe out gratitude. We're going to do, if you're coming on with a video, you might turn your video off just for this portion, and then we'll have Q&A coming on. I'm so grateful that we have guests. But we're going to do a little breathing exercise. Are you ready? Breathing in calm for 7 seconds. Here we go. Hold. Release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that is something we probably should do more often than once a week, right? We should do it fairly often just because we're so attached to our devices, right? So we have to we want to slow down every so often. We should slow down every so often and take a deep breath, be still and know, hear the still small voice, get grounded, get centered. So that's a big part of my message here in my show. And today I cannot wait to tell you or introduce you to Mirna Martinez. She is the most, I don't know, I talk to overcomers all the time. Everyone has a story, but some are more compelling than others. And when I heard hers, and we met through Bree, Terry Lee Harrison has Let's Talk Bree, BRI, bold, real, and impactful. And it's about faith-based speakers coming together and learning together and growing in a community.
Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, so Mirna, give me who are you in this world? Let's just start with who are you in this world, and then we'll weave in all the things that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, currently I am someone that has started the process of healing and has found out the purpose, right? I have found out my gift, my divine gift. I have found out my purpose, and therefore now I'm starting to walk in it. And so you can say I'm that child that finally picked up that crown and fixed it. And I am going 100% in and not wasting any more time and in listening to a concept that was fake. So I'm not useless. I'm not worthless. I'm actually someone that is chosen, and I have survived all these things that have happened up to my life, and now it's ready to share it with the world and help inspire others. So I guess you can say I'm a CEO with a traumatic past that is now inspired to help others live through whatever they're going through and let them know that there is a choice and there is more for us out there.
Well, when I heard you mention things like, I think it's 52 siblings, and you were raised in the hood, and you were raped by your brother, and you had a baby at 11, and you had, it was a fire hydrant of, oh my gosh, how can she survive? And if I'm not mistaken, you said of all of your siblings, your parents, everybody, you're the only one that has risen above the
definitely. And it's so sad to think of, but it's true. And it's in every which way, every manner, like down to the marriage, right? Even to marriage, that just doesn't exist. that just is not a possibility for like why would you want to get married? You're just going to split up at the end of the day. Love is not real, you know? You can't depend on a man, like, or raising kids. What's the point of you raising a kid or teaching them all this if they're just going to leave? Or buying a house. Why are you buying a house if at the end of the day, it's not even yours? Or why are you going to open a business? Like, that's too much stress. I mean, everything is negative.
What an incredible story, though, because I mean, we hear about the hood, but just not had that horrific of an experience where everything in your life was negative. And can I just guess? This is a guess, but
Yeah.
they probably look at you and say, "You think you're better than us, don't you?"
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. You get all that.
You know
And
what's funny
how do you
is that I
reply to
was
that?
that person. I was that person because you get raised to don't be a hypocrite, don't be a backstabber, don't be like, change is bad, right? Like, if you're in the hood, you're going to stay in the hood and you're like, this is it, And so if you think any different than that, you're automatically like a traitor, you're a two-faced, things like that. And there is consequences for it, right? So fighting through that mentality was very, very hard because when you think of goals, I didn't even know what the word goal was. Okay. And my goal at that time, without realizing, was that I wanted to stay in the street. I wanted to be so well respected.
Yes, I'm sure it's really sad. And one of the things I think that I understood in your story, and we've just known each other loosely, briefly. We met last week,
Right.
and we've seen each other in the Bree Talks. Let's Talk Bree, by the way, if you want to find that, just recently. But you have such a strong drive, such a strong personality, and Mirna.ceo. It's Mirna, Mirna.ceo, and you're so dynamic and you're so out there, and you're the CEO of, say, 6 companies, I think now, and they're very diverse. Did you get too big for your britches is one of the things, don't get too big for your britches was one of the things
Yeah.
I was raised at, designed to keep you small, right?
Yeah.
So something happened and you were born with the right combination of genes to shift your mindset.
Yeah. Well, my husband has always been awoken. We talk about this all the time.
Was he raised in the hood?
So you know what? I met him in the streets, but his way. I would say he had a good life. Me getting out of my household was definitely because of him. I mean, he was like, yeah, no, we're going to live all the way over there. I want to get you as far as I can from your family because your family is crazy.
If 52 kids get together at a holiday, which I'm sure that doesn't probably happen out there, but it's a big family. So I'm grateful that he saw that in you, that you received it, because you have to receive it too.
Oh,
and
fought him for 9 years about it. So
really,
it was not easy.
When I talk in the hood, most of us would think New York, but you're talking Fort Worth, right?
I'm actually talking about Dallas.
Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're in Dallas and Fort Worth, by the way. I'm a Fort Worth advocate. I'm a Tarrant County side all the way, but there's a mindset difference from the two cities, and they're 30 miles apart, but their mindset quite a bit different.
I live in Fort Worth now, which we did it on purpose because Dallas people really don't travel to Fort Worth for whatever reason. And so we knew that my family wasn't going to come out this way. But Fort Worth is very more like family oriented. Dallas is way more like go, go, go. Like, you're going to let me cut you in. Like, I'm like, if we're going to crash, we're going to crash type of thing. So that's kind of how Dallas is. It's very rough on the edges. And Fort Worth is like, even Fort Worth, like, you turn on your blinkers when it rains to let people know that I'm about to drive slow. So just FYI. No, in Dallas, we don't do that. I love Fort Worth.
Yeah, I do too. I'm an advocate in a big way. And I was an ambassador during the Super Bowl. I lived downtown, and it was, when we had the Super Bowl here in that big ice storm years ago.
Yeah.
But I lived down there and was an ambassador for Fort Worth, got to really meet some of the people, and it was fun. So you're CEO of a security company, and you're CEO of what all are they? I was
So I can tell you pretty much my list. So yeah, I own and I am the CEO of a security company. So National Special Force is actually consisted of armed and unarmed officers. We also do private investigations and process serving. With that, it kind of inspired to open an academy. So that's another place where I'm actually a CEO as well, because I do everything in it when it comes to building it, structuring it, make sure everything's on point.
I mean, like, what do you do in your spare time, right? So I was like,
I guess
I,
in my spare time is that I'm actually the vice chair of the Latino Business Alliance for the Chamber of Arlington. So I concentrate on that and I host networking events that, like, for example, my last networking event hosted up to 800 people. So that's what I do in my spare time.
yeah, that's not spare time. There's no such. In fact, nobody has spare time. I heard this one time. We've got full time or part time, but nobody really has spare time, because even in your spare time, you're usually busy. So that is crazy. All those things that you're doing and managing. To me, they're spinning plates, right? You've got this one to do and this one to do and this one to do. So are you finding good help is a thing, right? So finding the right people to support your businesses and your dreams and your jobs, that's got to be a piece of
hard.
it too.
No, I think that's where the CEO came in, because at first it was just, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm the owner, I'm the founder. But after, when I had to come in, like, because we were getting our certifications and things like that, I had to get a title. Like, now it's getting serious, right? Now we're not a small business. Now we're becoming a corporation and you need a title. And what is that title? What is it that you do? And so CEO was the one that fit more to what I do. But as a CEO, I had to learn that a CEO doesn't do everything in the company. I had to learn to delegate and hire and work with others and start learning about team building. If the company is not growing or is not getting the business or the gigs or the contracts, things like that, then these employees are not getting work. They're not getting jobs. They're not getting employment. And then that means their families are not getting fed. They're not having a home, things like that. So that's the responsibility that now I have. And so I had to learn to delegate, definitely.
And that's a lot. I mean, you look like, a child. So it's like, how on earth? And I know you have you've got a daughter, right? A family, and you're including them in many of your businesses, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's something important. So our construction business is just starting. Our security business is already having a strong foundation, right? But our construction company, although it's doing really well, it's just starting. It's a baby. To me, it's a baby. And it's very important for our daughters to understand that although they have a very nice life, there's work to be done, right? Like, how is it that we get funded for everything that you want, right? How is it that we're able to go out and eat? Or if we're missing milk, we're able to go buy it, because I wasn't able to do that. My husband wasn't able to do that. If we didn't have milk, then guess what? You better mix your oatmeal with water, or, like, you gotta think outside of the box, and they don't have that struggle. So my husband mainly, he likes to make sure that the girls understand what is it that we do and how we do it. And if for whatever reason one day they do decide to take over the businesses, they know what every position does, even to the smallest one, right? So I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, your daughter's, scrubbing toilets, she's 7 and she's scrubbing toilets, but that's one of our job sites. And I want her to know, and everybody should know how to scrub a toilet. But like, I don't want her to be like, oh yeah, we have a cleaning lady that comes in and cleans our house, so I don't have to do that. No, like, if you want that luxury, there's work to be done in order for you to be able to afford those things. And so that's kind of a concept and then also it helped bond as a family. So we like to do everything together as a family. So there'll be times that we're in the office and everybody's cleaning the office, or somebody's printing, somebody's, filling up envelopes, whatever it might be. But yeah, very important to have our girls included. And everything that we do.
I love that so much. The values. So you get to instill your values. They get to watch you, how you interact, your integrity on a regular basis, on a daily basis, how you do things is, and what an incredible education. They're going to learn 10,000 times more watching you guys and working with you guys than
Yeah.
they will in a public school. So I'm thrilled that the values are important, right? And I feel like once you have, once you are clear on some of your values, then your decisions are much easier down the road. I had this conversation just recently. It was like, just consider your children. What's important to you? Is it important to you to have, to tell the truth, to have, to do the right thing? You need to think about those things before you get into those situations.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
you're amazing that they have a work ethic that will not quit. And I'm thrilled with that. And then as a family, you're an example. And here you are moving into the motivational speaking. And there's no doubt that you'll go far with all of that. I'm
Thank you.
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with you.
I think that's the other thing, that it's so hard to see a family, I guess, especially where I'm from. Like you see a lot of broken families. Like having a single mother, a single father is just normal. Like, oh, okay, cool. But seeing a family is like, oh my God, you got your dad, you got your mom. Like, that's weird. And that's so sad. So, now being together, it becomes this influence of, it is possible for you to have a good man. It is possible for you to be able to raise your daughters. It is possible for you to manage business, your personal life, and your family all at the same time, because a woman should be able to have it all. And I think everything is created for a reason, but a lot of people make it seem like, no, you either have one thing or you have the other thing. That's it. But I'm a living proof that even the worst out of the worst can have it all, and I'm so grateful for that.
Well, when we started off with some of the horrific things that happened in your life, I mean, being chained up to tables and forced to watch pornography and being raped by your brothers. And I mean, beyond comprehension, because most of us have had, some trauma in our life and smush it down or whatever, but that was more than just some trauma. So the overcoming piece, the acknowledging, I do believe that by sharing your story, it's a healing for yourself, right?
Yes, definitely. So I learned, okay, so the being chained up to a dining room table at age 2 part, I actually didn't know about it until like maybe 2 years ago when I started my healing process. So I always had these nightmares. They were very random and they would spark up in certain situations, and my husband had to deal with that. But I started going to therapy and we talked about it. And this is why I think mental health is so important, because again, I didn't know about it. And in these nightmares, I can literally see these dark figures kind of walking this way and that way. And I can see like this grayish TV view. It was kind of blurry in the back. And then right here, there was always something like right here. Like if I looked up, it was dark. Like I could always see it. And I was so cold. I was freezing, And then there was a pole right here. And I remember hearing the chains. And this nightmare would happen over and over and over. Anyways, started my healing process, and that actually opened me up to being able to meet with some family members that I had not spoken to in a very long time, maybe over 10 years. And my husband was a witness. He was there with me. So we were just talking about like, oh my God, we're so proud of you. You've overcame so much. And, from what we know and from what you're doing, this is amazing. They were genuinely proud of me. Right. And so, yeah, we started talking. And I said, yeah, it's crazy, even with nightmares and trauma and stuff like that. And she's like, nightmares? And we started diving deep into the nightmare. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's when you were 2 and your mom would drop you off at this babysitter's house. And the babysitter would leave to, spend time with her friends or go shopping or whatever she would do. And she would leave you with her husband. And her husband would invite his neighbor or friend over to drink, and then they will get a kickoff having you be cold because, of certain things that happen to your body when you get cold, and have you there and like make you watch pornography, and they would get a kick off of that. They would love to watch you do that. And that was like that moment I almost fainted. I was like, what? Like, and then it was like everything just started aligning, like it was fitting, and it just makes so much sense. And then that nightmare that was so dark and blurry, it just got cleared. And my husband was like, are you okay? Like do we need to leave? Like, are you okay? Like, because he saw it, like I got flushed. And so then it was like, oh my God, this is a whole nother part of my life that I didn't know. Because I remember beginning to get raped at 7 by my stepdads. So that was like, I remember that. And I remember why I started getting raped by my brother, right? Because I was 11 and, I was seeking protection from the stepdads and things like that. And that's how that happened. But I didn't remember age 2, I remember some of age 5 and whatnot, and at age 5, it looked like I had a really nice life. Like I had a stepdad that was really good to me. And then I had my mom and we had a home and it was just us 3. But then my mom ends up leaving that good stepdad and gets with somebody else.
That's just it. My granddaughter is too, right? I'm just cringing. It's hard to conceive that. I'm so grateful that they had the capacity to let you know that they're, because once you know, then you have the choice. It's all choice. You can
Right.
deal with it and heal from it and move forward or stay trapped. And so you've chosen to move forward on that. And I'm just so
Yeah. Well, I
in
live for
awe.
that little girl now, now I am that one person that is hugging that little girl when she was cold, when she felt like there was nobody there for her. I am that person. So I can close my eyes and I can see that little girl and feel that little girl and hug her and be who I wished I had at that time. And that has helped me realize that that's my purpose. I'm supposed to be that person for others, that they think that they're alone, that they think that nobody knows what they're going through. And that feeling of disgust, that feeling of darkness, that feeling of like, there's no point of you being here. You're just like taking up space. You're useless, you're worthless. And no, there's something beautiful that's gonna come out of it. And I'm, here for those people.
I'm I get chills about all this because it's so horrific. Your story will be, you're writing your book, your story will be told. And you said something about a movie or a series. I want it. I hope, well, it will. I do believe that the trauma gets told and the happy ending is there and the hope is there. The lesson on how you can, weave that into healing is there.
Yeah.
So, well, goodness. Well, we have a guest, and if she wants to come on and ask questions, you can put your video and your microphone on if you want to. Are you okay with that, Mirna, to bring in?
Yes, definitely.
I'm guessing that it's Kimberly.
No, it's Nancy.
Oh, Nancy. Oh my goodness. So the problem is I don't have my glasses on. Awesome. Hi. Thank you for joining us today.
I've been trying to, and I put it on my calendar today, and I'm like, I thought I missed it. I'm like, oh no.
Well, good for
But
you.
Yeah, what a wonderful, inspiring story. I'm so glad I was able to get on today because you have literally overwhelmed me today. It's amazing how all of this. Did your husband have any kind of schooling or anything for you to know how to develop all this? How did you pull it
No.
all together?
No, so me and my husband, we've struggled. I mean, we've tried to divorce each other so many times. I mean, the fact that I didn't know how to treat a man because I couldn't even love myself for 9 years. Yeah, no, he definitely didn't. I mean, we would try to split up and everything, but there was always something that would bring us back. And now I understand that he was actually helping all that trauma come out. And so every time we fought, there was something that would come out, something that would get fixed. And 9 years it took for me to actually finally was able to love myself, love my children, and love my husband and value them for who they are. But before then, I was a very cold soul walking in this world. I was not living whatsoever. I was just literally breathing and walking around with no reason of being in this earth, at least in my knowledge. And it wasn't until I went through the whole healing process, mentally, physically, and financially, in every which way, that I was able to hold my daughter, and my daughter was 14 at the time. So for 14 years, she did not have a mother that could genuinely love her. I mean, she was provided for, but she didn't know what a hug, a kiss, because I didn't know what that was. And the youngest one, she was probably like 4 years old, and she didn't know either. And my husband, for 9 years, he didn't know what that was. So I finally healed to where I was able to see their beauty and their purpose, their gifts, their shine, right? And I was able to value them and hug them and express my feelings toward them. It was very, very it was very impactful for all of us. It was even hard for them to adjust to me even being expressive on what I was saying, you know, because I would not say I'm sorry to no one. I would not tell anybody that I loved them. I didn't hug, kiss. I didn't do that. Like, it was just not, it's like, toughen up, deal with it, get up, you know, like that's just the way I was raised. Yeah. So like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
So
no
you
empathy.
overcame something that is beyond. So two things I want to add here or ask about, you know, so the way I say it, you know, bullies don't love themselves enough to know how to love others. That's just one.
Right.
Bullies are victims too, right? So when I call it bullies, it's, you know, people walking around with not enough
Sure.
self-love to know how to have the confidence to love others. And so so incredibly proud of you and grateful that because a lot of people don't ever get there, right? So
My mom
proud,
is
proud,
71
but
years old and still
your
hasn't.
mom, yeah. So this is where I was going. You have forgiven your mom. You have, at least that's what I understand, right? So let's talk
Yeah.
just a bit about how did that happen? Because your mom, that allowed all these things to happen. Of course, she's a hurt people, right? She doesn't know. We only know what
Yeah.
we have where we've come from, right? So tell us about the mom
Yeah.
healing
So
there.
my mom had 13 kids. So I have 52 siblings and a combination of my mom and my dad. My mom had 13 and I'm number 13. So I'm the baby out of all of them. And my mom, she has been working since she was 7 and she's been getting raped, and it's a very normal thing. I mean, my grandmother went through it. My older sisters went through it. It's just a normal thing. And my mother actually had to abandon all her kids and come to the States illegally, because she was fleeing from the warriors, the war that was going on in El Salvador. And, you know, like there was gangs were really bad. I mean, it was a whole thing. Anyway, she had to flee and come here with not knowing not one soul, 9 months pregnant. And she had to door knock to see who can give her shelter, you know, because I was about to be born. And so she had to get here, work, and send money to her kids so they can be fed, so they can have, you know, a home and things like that. And then all while being pregnant, being a single mother, not knowing not one person in this world. Like, she didn't know nobody in Texas, right? So anyways, I was born and she had to work. I mean, who else was going to provide for diapers? Who else was going to provide for food? Who else was going to give that, right? So as a single mother, independent woman, she had to do what she had to do. Now, what happens when she leaves? It wasn't a choice of her, like, hey, here's my daughter and you can rape her and have fun with her, blah, 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 blah. That wasn't the choice. Her thing was like, here's my child. I have to go work. I have no option. Please take care of my child, right? And so, unfortunately, that was the place that I was in. And so, you know, yes, she ended up having relief, financial relief, when she found these men, you know, because they help out with the rent or they helped out with all these things, but she didn't know that they were doing these things. Now, when there was a moment that I told her, hey, mom, this is what's happening. I'm getting da 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 da. And she did say, well, you know, the devil was in you know, but now they're good. You should be fine. That was her mistake. But mind you, this is scary for a woman that doesn't know the language, doesn't know, like doesn't even have the funds. Like she's very limited on what she can do, so she's really hoping that this guy that's begging for forgiveness has changed and he's not going to touch her daughter anymore, right? So like we're looking at a victim mentality that has never healed and whatnot. And even up to this day, she's not willing to take any type of help from me. She still sees nothing wrong with what happened or thinks that I had such a traumatic life. With me, I decided, no one's touching my daughter. Nobody's using my daughter. And I don't care what happens. If I have to have my daughter sleeping in the back seat while I go work or whatever I do, nobody's touching my daughter. And I'm going to give her a different life and I'm going to start something different. And that's that. I'm not going to allow what happened to me to happen to them. And it could have happened to my oldest daughter. She actually has some type of trauma that, now she's going to therapy and stuff. She has abandonment issues and all this, but she didn't go through any of the things that I had to go through, which to me, that's a win.
Absolutely. You're extraordinary. Can't even. And so you have forgiven your mom. You don't, I want to read something out of I have a tiny book.
Yes.
Candy bar hugs. It doesn't take much to make a difference, but something that I wrote in the very first page as in part of the dedication to my children. And I don't have to read it. I know it, but I call it a forgiveness release. And it's like, I did what I did. I didn't do what I didn't do. I did all that I knew to do with what I knew at the time, just like you did and are doing in your life right now. I love you, because people only do all they know to do. I mean, it's, and we can't change any of that. We can only change moving forward. So,
yeah,
I did all that I knew to do with what I knew at the time, just like you're doing, I mean, really, it was kind of this pointing that out a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I will say that it's hard because when I woke and realized everything that happened to me and realized that it was bad, and it was just a big eye opener. I was like, whoa, I can't believe I survived all that or I went through all that, but I can't be mad at my mother, and it's not her fault. And she did a very amazing job. I mean, she taught me how to be an independent woman. She taught me how to work. She taught me, respect. She taught me, like she just taught me how to be strong. And I can't take that away from her. Like she taught me that. She taught me, get up, like life is gonna be hard and everybody's going to be crying about it, but you do not do that. You get up and you go and don't look back, right? And so I have a lot to thank her for. And she had, she's a really sweet lady. And unfortunately right now we don't have the best relationship. And I'm hoping that maybe one day it'll come to that. But I know she does. I feel like she doesn't care, but if she were ever to pass away to where she felt any type of guilt, at least she'll know that I have forgiven her. I wish her no harm.
It's taking the high road. My mom always said, take the high road. And when it's hard, take the high road, right? So, you still can rise above it and be your best, regardless of where you've come from. And you're the poster child for that. You just really have, and an overcomer. So the word, Nancy, do you have any other questions? We're going to wrap it up pretty soon.
Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful to have you as a visitor, and I don't have a lot of them, generally speaking, but I will, and I haven't encouraged it a whole lot because it's, sometimes it's like, I can't tell who it is, like you just said, and that, but I'm really extraordinarily grateful that you came and decided to share and participate. And this is what the WinWinWomen.tv network is all about. Let's share our stories. Let's offer hope to the globe. It's all over the globe. So whatever we can do to make a difference in the next person is what we need to do, right? So
amen.
Mirna, mirna.ceo. I did want to touch on your branding. I'm impressed with your branding. I love the little Mirna, and it's .ceo, not .com, but it's on everything. That's your social media handle, is Mirna .ceo.
Yeah.
And you've
I
got
know
Mirna
when
Martinez, I believe, in Facebook, but that's how people will find you. People are going to
Mhm.
want to hear your story. They're going to want to buy your book, Mirna, Mirna.ceo. That's worth checking out for sure. Finding her on Facebook, and who knows, in this physical vicinity of DFW, what a blessing to have some of those businesses to draw from, to know somebody who has the integrity and now all the hard work to make them work, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
any last words, Mirna? What do you want to leave people with? What's most impactful for you?
I think that the last thing I guess I want to say is we all have a moment where we can fix our crown, because we're all part of this divine royalty blood, right? And as long as we are ready to receive what was destined for us, all you need to say is, I'm ready for it, and take all that pain and turn it into power. And the thing about it is that it might hurt today, but tomorrow it ain't. There's beauty in everything. Like even when I get problems now, I'm like, it's okay, because something good is coming. And I just want to be a testimony to how amazing life can get. I mean, we're talking about from eating in the streets, eating from the garbage cans, to being cold and not having nowhere to go, from working at bars at age 13 to being a dropout, and now I'm actually, I haven't put it in public, so I'm gonna say in your show, but I'm about to get my doctorate in business development here in October.
Dr. Mirna.ceo. You'll have to change your branding. That is so. Did you see I pull my crown out, right? I have a
Yes,
crown,
yes,
and
fix
I
that
really,
crown.
yeah, as
Yes.
the queen, we get to choose, and I'm grateful you reminded me of my crown there. So it's
Ooh, you should wear it in your
congratulations on
shows.
the doctorate. I mean, that is huge. And I know that I had heard, you were talking about it with Terry Lee, and I overheard that. And then I haven't heard it since, or in any of your other things that I was kind of catching up
Yeah,
with.
no,
And
it's kind of been a secret, because I've been working on so hard on a lot of things, and everything I do it with a purpose in it. So the ceremony, I want it to be inspiring to others to create their own success. And so that's kind of where we're headed. And so you will find out soon where we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and everyone's invited. So if y'all want to meet, let's connect, let's collaborate. And I appreciate you, Charla, so much. This is amazing, and you have a beautiful platform, and I can't wait to show it with all my followers what amazing show you have.
oh, thank you so much. But so tell me what your doctorate is in again.
Business development.
Business development. And
Mhm.
man, that the accomplishment of that is really off the charts, coming from
Thank
dropout,
you.
right? So and that's just, resilience is a word for you, right? You've heard that, I'm sure, 1,000 times, but resilience, you are resilient. You are going to find a way no matter what. And what a beautiful soul you are, and what a beautiful message you have, and what an inspiration to the world. I'm so grateful that you would come and take the time to be with me today, and will just share your passion, oh my
Yes,
goodness, yeah,
the
your
honor's all
heart,
mine. Thank you.
and
This was fun.
well, and it is fun to me. I mean, I'm not an interviewer. I'm like, I just want to hear the story, and let's, share. So that's
Yeah,
the way
no,
it
maybe
works for
next time we
me.
can talk about the whole story.
There's
But
more, but
yeah,
wait, there's more.
yeah, I mean, if I think we got into detail in some part of it, but if I tell you my whole story, which I think you yourself got to hear most of it at Bree Talks Live, but yeah, I mean, it's from trauma to trauma, like one episode to another. So definitely, like we'll definitely need to have another show for that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm grateful for you. Thanks, Nancy, for jumping on, and
Yes,
we're
Nancy,
gonna
pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, it's just going to be, actually, I have to put my glasses on. to
My
figure
pleasure
out-
too. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So I want to, I always in my show, just like you are perfect exactly who and where you are. And there's no other place to be than where you are right now. You might as well grasp it and embrace it and then make a choice if you don't like it, right? Make a different choice,
Right.
say a different word. Every word matters. Every word matters. Every word matters. So split second transformation,
Yeah.
change your words, change your life. Every word matters. So I encourage you all to just remember to always, always, always choose joy.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show. Encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.